welcome back to another edition of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. For this month runs out of time here in July. I see that everyone has posted their top albums of 2026, and I'm late to the party here, but we're not in August yet, so I still got time to drop these gems on you guys. But before I do that, hit all of those reminders on the side of me so you can get notified every time I post a new video. So enough of me rambling. You're here for one thing and one thing only, to get my best albums of 2026 so far. It's been a busy year of music. If some of these albums don't land on your list, that's fine. If there's something on the list that I am displaying here, you felt like,
hey Rodney, why you don't have this album on here?
Well, maybe you can catch those in the description box below. I got some additional albums that I planted down there in the description. Now, if they're not there, then I don't know what to do. If you got some solid recommendations, it's never too late to check them out. I will put my ear to the streets as long as it's a 2026 release. I don't want people coming in here talking about check out this album from 2024. No. We're talking about 2026. Let's get right into it. Let's get into some honorable mentions first. And we're going to start off with Moonchild, Waves. And Moonchild continues to prove why they're just one of the most smoothest bands out there. Great features on this album. It has warm grooves, gorgeous harmonies, and that signature laid back soul that they've mastered so many times throughout their projects. Check this one out. You will enjoy it. Also, another honorable mention would be Tom Misch, Full Circle. Tom didn't reinvent the wheel here. He didn't have to. Funk, jazz, hip hop, guitar work, exactly what longtime fans wanted. He gives you what you want here. Very good instrumentals here. Great vocals on this one. I really enjoyed this project as well. Also, you will enjoy his sister's project as well if you're into that ambient stuff. You got Laura Misch with one of the most peaceful listenings of the year. Beautiful saxophone arrangements mixed with ambient textures that almost feel cinematic. And then check out the new Top Dog Entertainment signee here. TDE has signed a new artist by the name of Imani Imani. She came out with an album called Paper Cuts. And also, if you wanted the name of that Laura Misch album, it's called Lithic. But anyway, back to Imani Imani. This one was really good. One of the better alternative R&B albums to come out this year. Honest-hearted soul writing, songwriting, and emotional performances that continue to grow with every listen. It's not a perfect album, but it's a great start. And might I say this about TDE? They are 3 for 3 when it comes to women artists that are just taking the world by storm here. You had Doechii, you had SZA, of course, and now you have Imani, and I think they got something here with her. Also, Dua Sala with Of Earth and Wires, and this album is creative. It is experimental. It's fearless. Not everything landed for me with this project, but when the songs landed, they landed. And I think if you're into that alternative R&B soul, experimental R&B soul, I think you would like this one. Give this one a shot. On the weird side, we got Girls Chat Room with Dracula's Daughter. Now, if you're into bands, chaotic electronic bands like LDC Sound System, I think you will like this project. It's dark, it's chaotic, and it's also an incredibly funny album to listen to. Very entertaining. It's very like I tripped over my steps and I'm looking around to see if somebody saw me, and boom, the whole crowd is looking at you laughing, but not in a bad way, because they see that you can take a joke, right? I think that's what I get when it comes to this Girls Chat Room album. Very entertaining, very good production throughout this one, and very good storytelling on this one as well. Check it out if you want to test your ears with something different. Also, we have Gnarls Barkley who came out of nowhere with a new project in a long time. CeeLo and Danger Mouse reunite with Atlanta. And this was enough to excite me, and I was thankful for listening to this. This was a personal record for CeeLo here, also along with Danger Mouse. Very good production on here. CeeLo sings with a lot of emotion. It reminded me of why this duo always have been so unique, and I think you'll enjoy this one. Don't go looking for commercial hits off this project. This is a very personal love letter to Atlanta from Gnarls Barkley. Now that we've got all of that out the way, the honorable mentions out the way, let's get right into my top albums. No particular order, my top albums of 2026, and it starts with Jill Scott, To Whom It May Concern. It feels like Jill Scott never left with this album. This album reminds us of why she's still one of the GOATs when it comes to neo-soul storytelling. The poetry, the warmth, the musicianship. It's mature without sounding dated. It's comfort music at its finest. And I know this has been a very polarizing album this year with the newer generation, but that's because the newer generation wasn't raised off Jill Scott from back in the late 90s, early 2000s. The people that grew up during that era are not surprised by some of the topics that she sang about, but a lot of the younger crowd might look at Auntie like, hey, what are you talking about? But it is what it is. I love the album. I think it's one of the year's best. Give this one a shot if you haven't done so already. Up next, we got Charlie Hunter with Space Bomb. If you're into instrumental jazz, boom bap, in some pockets, this album is mandatory to listen to. I mean, Charlie continues doing things with the guitar that most musicians wouldn't even attempt. And that's what's going on in this album. The grooves are deep. The musicianship is effortless. It's one of those albums where every instrument gets its own chance to shine. So I really like this one. Give this one a shot as well. I also recommend this Aja Monet album. This isn't just music. It's poetry, it's jazz, it's activism, it's healing. Aja Monet has created one of the most emotionally rich albums of the year. This is one that you sit with, not something that you just casually throw on in the background. You just want to really lock into this one. The Color of Rain is the name of the album. Check out my review of this album. I think you will also enjoy it. Up next, we got the Marloes with the Hotel Malibu, one of my favorite discoveries. Just got the late notice that they dropped a second album. I was really a fan of their first album, and this album is dripping with vintage soul, beautiful harmonies, live instrumentation. It has timeless sound to it. Every time I revisit it, I appreciate it even more. So check out this one. It is definitely a hidden gem. Up next, we got Jessie Ware with Super Bloom. Now, Jessie somehow just keeps finding new ways to make sophisticated pop music, disco, soul, dance. She makes it work with every album. Even though she's been doing the same thing over the last 3 albums, she has not swung and missed, ladies and gentlemen. Everything feels elegant. This is music that works in your headphones, and it works on the dance floor. It works in the living room. It scratches all of those dance floor itches for you. Check this one out if you haven't done so already. Also, we have Flea with Honora, and what a surprise here. Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers put on a show with this jazz infused poetic project. Probably the biggest surprise on my list. People know Flea as an incredible bassist, but this project showed another side of his artistry, and I love some of the covers that he did on here as well. We have Thundercat with Distracted. Nobody sounds like Thundercat. Nobody. And this album balances technical brilliance with humor and vulnerability. Now, I did see some comments in my review of this album. I did a short, and also I did a full video review of this album, and I was getting some mixed comments, some mixed reviews from some of the listeners of the show, which I appreciate. I get that. But come back to this album. If you didn't like it on the first listen, come back to it. All of Thundercat's albums have the tendency to grow on. He doesn't go for that instant gratified listen that most pop artists aim for. And Thundercat is not a pop artist by any stretch of the imagination, but he is one of the most creative artists in the game right now, one of the most incredible bassists in the game. If musically, sonically, this album is really good, and I know he touches on a lot of mental health issues on this album, but I think you will enjoy it. Maybe listen to it when you're not in the whip. Because I know that's what gets some people in trouble. They listen to albums and they don't put themselves in the right circumstances to take in a particular album. They might be going shopping or driving or doing something that will cause them to get distracted too quick and they don't get into the album. Sit with it. I think you will like it. Enough of me rambling. Let's go to the next one. GENA, the pleasure is yours. I can't talk enough about this album. It's smooth, it's confident, beautifully produced. What more can I say? I'm not going to waste too much time on this one. Brilliant album. Up next, we got James Blake, Trying Times. Now, this album came out earlier in the year. I didn't really get a chance to review it, but James Blake continues to live in his own musical universe. This is actually his first album after breaking away from his old record label company, and I also watched a pretty interesting interview about him talking about how the creative juices was taken away from him under major record labels. And so here he's going back to his roots on this one. It's one of the most easiest listening albums that you can listen to. It will reward you. And after multiple listens with this project, I think is one of James Blake's best projects in a long time. Up next, we got Kareem Ali with The Essence. If you've followed this channel, you already knew that this album was going to make the list. Kareem Ali continues to blend house, jazz, soul, spirituality into something totally unique. It's very uplifting. All of the tracks on here thump. If you're into that deep house music with a little edge to it, I think you will really enjoy this project. Up next, we got DJ Harrison, Electro Soul. I reviewed this earlier in the year, so go backtrack and check that review out. Every track feels alive. DJ Harrison has always been one of the most underrated producers in the game, and hopefully this project changes that. Up next, we got Yaya Bey with Fidelity, and this is one of my favorite albums of the year. Yaya Bey, this new album, Fidelity, feels personal. Her songwriting continues to evolve. She's very vulnerable on here, but at the same time confident, and the instrumentals on this thing is just chef's kiss. Up next, we got Sparklmami with In This Body. Now, this album caught me completely by surprise. I was in the middle of celebrating my anniversary around the time the release of this album, so I was late to the party get into this one, but this was a late scratch in. I'm just gonna be honest about it. It came out in June, but it is a late scratching in. This project has so much soul. It's incredibly atmospheric. There's a vulnerability about it. Some of the Latin vibes, some of the salsa vibes, some of the very jazzy pockets of this record. Oh man, this is such a dreamy, earthly album. I just really enjoyed this one by Sparklmami. The music on here is incredible. Definitely a threat. I'm just gonna be early to the party on this one. This is a threat for a top 5. This is a top 5 release. If you like groups like Hiatus Coyote or Men I Trust, combine those two as if they had a baby called Sparklmami. And last but not least, we got Radiohop. I can't end this show without giving you some really good instrumental projects here. It's called Coffee and Beats for a reason, right? It's because I love instrumentals. One of the biggest reasons why. Hard to Handle by Radiohop. If you're looking for pure grooves, this album deserves your attention. Funk, soul, electronic textures, and infectious rhythms into a project that's impossible to sit still. Every track feels carefully crafted, but nothing sounds overproduced. It's just just flows very naturally. This has easily become one of my favorite records to throw on while driving, while working, just vibing with a cup of coffee. It's fun, it's stylish, and it's one of the most replayable albums I've heard this year. And boom, we made it to the finish line. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to this special mid-year in review of 2026 episode of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. Again, if you haven't heard any of these projects, please do yourself a favor and give these album recommendations a shot. Again, if I missed something that didn't crack the surface of my list, well, let me know down in the comment section. I will do my best to give it a listen. You never know. The end of the year is 6 months from now, so it's on a 6-month timer. So right now, clock starts right now. Send me those recommendations that are not on this list or in the description below, and we'll see if they land on my end of the year list. But until then, when it comes to coffee, when it comes to music, stay grounded for life. Hit all of those reminders on the side of me, and I will see you guys on the second half of music. Peace.